next up today, delighted to welcome Rupert Turton from Action Coach Oakham and Kettering. Rupert, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Simon. Great to be here. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for getting involved as well. As I said, I keep saying it throughout the day. It's the first one we've ever organised, and obviously we've been, sharing some great video content so far today. And it's great to have you on board. So, do you want to give us an introduction to yourself and who are Action Coach?
Yeah, okay. I love the initiative, by the way, Simon. I think it's just great that you're actually putting this stuff out for business owners, and particularly people who are starting up a new business, because let's face it, it's a pretty scary time. I know when we started Action Coach Oakham and Kettering, we were very aware of what we didn't know. And between Angela and myself, there's an awful lot of business knowledge there. Angela's this is, I think, her fourth startup business, so she pretty much knows what she's doing. My background is much more in corporate, so I'm very comfortable with everything around finances and HR and actually delivery of the business, and also, of course, the sales side of things as well. So complementary skill sets. And even we thought when we set up the business, we are going to need support from somebody to really make this happen. And so Action Coach Oakham, sorry, to answer your question, we work with business owners first of all, to make sure they consistently reach their goals. And secondly, they get recognized for their achievements. So if you're starting a new business, obviously your main concern is going to be about surviving the first couple of years of business and actually getting the business to a point where you've got a sustainable revenue to drive your business forward. So fundamentally, what we're doing is working with the business owners to get them in a position where their business will move forward, will become profitable. And then secondly, of course, recognition for your achievements as well. So actually, you want to get paid for what you do. You've obviously got to make money. Some people start businesses for reasons other than simply profit as well. Some people start businesses because they want to help the community. We've got clients who run their business to fund their charities. So not everybody is driven by wanting the big house, the yachts, the Maserati. People have different reasons for starting their own business. An Action Coach, we work with business owners to really help them develop the business in those first few years. And then beyond that, it's then about their growth and working with them to grow the business to whatever their end goal is.
Yeah, well, brilliant. I mean, it's great that you can offer that service. And talking about the yacht and the mansion and the Maserati, I have all three of those. They're not tangible, and I can't touch them, and I can't drive them and live in them, but they're in my vision and in the dream. But now, joking aside, though, I mean, people do start businesses for different reasons, and I'm glad you've raised that, because you're the first person that sort of touched on that today. That people do start businesses for different reasons, don't they? And sometimes it's just a way of life, isn't it?
Yeah, and actually, it's one of the first things we work with new clients on as well. Why are you in business in the first place, and what actually are you looking for that business to become? So some people simply start a business because they want to have a salary and they don't want to work for somebody else. Others, it's about building a business that at some point in the future they're going to sell, or they're looking to build a business that in the years to come allows them to step back from the business and provide them with the finance for the lifestyle that they want. And other people are almost world domination, isn't it? So they're looking for a business that grows. They can get to a point where they can then go off and do other things. So whether that's maybe open a new office or a new shop, or maybe it's start a second business, or I actually get back to the example we had earlier, maybe it's about being able to set up that charity that they've always wanted to do, or maybe it's simply actually they've always wanted to walk the Amazon rainforest, and they need 6 months out of work to do it. So they've got to get the business to the point you can do it. Everyone has a different motive, but you need to think very carefully about what you want your business to be in the future, because that's going to determine the actions you take now to develop the business going forward. And it's so important that we get people to think about that as well.
Yeah, and I'll openly admit I'm a man of mistake. I've made mistakes. We've all made mistakes, but I openly admit mine. And 2009, if I go back to my startup journey, when I first started my first business with my mum, it was an embroidery company. And, our main motivation for starting the business was the fact that I'd lost my job through ill health and was facing an operation. Didn't know that I was facing the operation at the time, but it was a case of it was a case of she was my childminder, and I'd lost my regular income through ill health, and I had no salary to pay my mum anymore, anything to I had children and everything. So we thought, well, what should we do? Let's start a business that would actually help us to fit around the growth of the children, the nursery school runs and everything. So and of course, from their part, I mean, they were in there. What am I going back? 2009, 13 years. I'm giving away my mum's age now. They're in their mid-50s. And, for them, trying to find employment at their age, having moved into the area as well of Northamptonshire, was such a big challenge. So we looked at each other and said, right, let's do this. Let's make this happen. And I think, if I mentioned about mistakes, if I made a mistake from day one, we didn't have a business coach. We didn't have that person that was on our shoulder, guiding us, helping us, kicking us when we needed the kick. And I shouldn't call it.
Yeah.
I know you guys don't kick, but you probably do other things. But yeah, I mean, talk about mistakes. I mean, that was a mistake I made. So what would you say to anyone starting a business that's in that situation that sort of thinks, I can do this on my own?
Some people can, don't get me wrong, but it's very, how do I want to say? You could probably do it better with somebody else. If you look at all the big bosses of industry, people who've been successful, they generally have a coach. And I'm not saying you can't start a business without a coach, but you'll probably get to your goals quicker if you've got somebody working with you to coach you, to get you to that point as well. And obviously, it depends where you are on the journey. Let's face it, none of us know everything. By no means do we as coaches say we know the answer to everything. We fully accept and encourage our clients to, first of all, go out and find other sources of education. Within Action Coach, we call it the Big Friday Finish. So every second Friday, once a fortnight, we have a guest speaker come in and talk about a topic of interest to our clients. So actually, they're not just getting the Action Coach view, but they're also getting an outsider's view of what they should be doing. So over the years, we've had various people. So we've had people like Jeffrey Gittimore, who markets himself as the king of sales. He came in to talk about sales. We've had people, I'm just trying to set myself up for this, haven't I? We've had Marcus Sheridan came in. He wrote a book called You Ask. No, hang on. The book was called, we might have to edit this bit, Martin. Simon, start that again. So we've had, lost it completely now. Right. So we've had people like Jeffrey Gittimore come in and talk about sales. He markets himself as the king of sales. We've had Marcus Sheridan come in and talk about marketing your business. We've had people come in and talk about how to present yourself on Zoom. We've had people come in before and talk about, I mean, actually really simple things, but if you're in a networking meeting, obviously an environment you're very familiar with, actually when you stand up to do your pitch, how do you stand? How do you present yourself? What do you say? So we have all these guest speakers come in because it complements what we are doing as part of the coaching program. And we encourage all of our clients to read business books on a very regular basis. We regularly buy books for our clients just because we know it adds to their education and helps them move forward to the next place as well. So yeah, everybody can do it. It's how quickly you can do it. And if you think about it, when you're at work, if you're coming from the world of employment, you've always got a boss, a manager who is on your shoulder to make sure you're doing things. When you become self-employed, you don't have that. You don't have that person just checking you're doing the right things. You don't have that sounding board above you, making sure that you're making the right decisions, someone to bounce across. And okay, a lot of people when they start a business think, oh, that's fine, I can talk to my wife about this, or I can, Fred down the pub, he knows all about that. Or even if you've employed staff, I can talk to my team about it. But the reality is, chances are your wife doesn't understand what you're doing in the business. Your mate Fred down the pub, actually, he's your friend as well, so he's probably not going to give you the feedback that you need in the business, and it's not always going to be positive. You're going to make mistakes and you need to pick those up as quickly as possible, and you probably don't want to talk to your team about it in any case. There are times when actually you don't want your team to know everything that's going on inside the business, so it's having somebody who is independent of the business to give you that advice and guidance and to act as a sounding board for you, and of course most importantly hold you accountable for the things that you say you're going to do. So if if you've said you're going to do something in the next 2 weeks, making sure you've done it in the next 2 weeks to drive the business forward.
Yeah, I mean, accountability is massive, isn't it? When you're in business. I mean, I was always very anti accountability. Thought I knew better when I first started out, and you do, and you know what? That's why we collapsed. Well, one of the reasons we collapsed in a way, because you know, we had a number of challenges coming at us, and we didn't have that sounding board to really bounce ideas off or challenges. And I'm guessing with what you do, you meet a whole different kind of variety of businesses, but also different challenges as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And I mean, fundamentally, within Action Coach, we have we call it the 6 steps, but it's the system that all the coaches run to, and it doesn't matter which country. An Action Coach is all over the world, and it doesn't matter if you're in, I don't know, China or New Zealand, Australia, or if you're in the States or you're in France. We all run to the same system. My job as a coach is to know how to apply that system locally to your individual circumstances. But I mean, the things that we always start a business with are, first of all, what I've said it already, actually, where are you going with the business? Why have you started the business in the first place? Secondly, you've got to be quite strict on where you focus your time. As people, we have a tendency to go and do the things we are comfortable doing. And when you start your own business, actually, you're going to have to get out of your comfort zone quite a lot of the time as well. So it's making sure you're focusing the effort in the right area. Next is, of course, understanding the money, because let's face it, fundamentally, money is driving the business. So you need to know where the money is at any point in time and be able to understand. I'm not saying you have to do your own bookkeeping, but you need to be able to interpret the information that is being presented to you. And also, of course, delivery. People forget how important delivery is to the business. So you need to make sure that you're consistently delivering a good service to your clients. So of course, you're going to go to all that effort to win new business, give them a bad service, and they're never going to work with you again. So you do need to be very careful about getting those foundations in place. And then after that, it's much more about how you market and sell to the business, to your clients, whether it's a service or a product. You need to, first of all, understand your position in the marketplace. And before you start the business up, really research the market to understand what your niche is going to be, what section in the market you want to occupy. Because if you can get your positioning in the market right, you become the only person who can provide that service. And therefore, the conversation moves from being very much about price to being one about the service that you're delivering, and more importantly, of course, the outcomes to your clients. And then there's all the marketing. So how do you generate leads? How do you then convert those leads into clients? And then, of course, once you've gone to all that effort to get a client, you need to make sure that obviously you retain the client, but you want them to come back and buy from you time and time again, and you want to try and increase the money they're spending with you each time they do business as well. So you've got to think of all those elements as well. So if you think about it, though, we've now got a viable business, haven't we? Because first of all, we've got the ability to deliver the business, and secondly, we've now got to a position where we've got revenue coming in. So actually, you have a viable business. So in the first few months of working with any new business, that's the areas we're going to focus on. And then as the business grows, we can start to work on scaling that business up to a bigger business. So first of all, working on the systems and process that are actually going to drive the business. And obviously that varies substantially depending on what your business does. And then about hiring the right people. So actually hire the people to run the processes, but also how do you lead those people? How do you manage them? How do you motivate them? What training do they need? All those things that go into people management. And over a period of time, you're then starting to build a business that not only is viable in terms of it's making enough money to cover its costs, but also it runs without your day-to-day involvement. So you're starting to get to the point where you can focus more on growing the business and less on the day-to-day. And over time, of course, that then gets to a point where actually you can go and set up a second business, or you can go and do the charity, go and walk the rainforest, whatever you want to do. And then right at the top, I mean, there's always going to be the Alan Sugars and the Richard Bransons of this world as well, who, let's face it, have a very pleasant lifestyle with minimal involvement in their businesses at this time as well. So it's how far you want to go through the process as well.
Yeah, and it is possible to get to Lord Sugar and Duncan Ballantyne's level and all that, isn't it? It's more a case of probably the same as playing international sport, isn't it? I'd imagine a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication, bit of luck, getting there as well. But anyone can do this, providing. And I think actually Duncan Ballantyne actually mentions that in his book. Anyone can do this, but it is down to the hard work, determination, and the drive, but also having the accountability partner or the coach on your shoulder, because you can't play football without a coach on the side of the pitch shouting at you. And it's the same in business.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I mean, if you look at any sport, all top sportsmen have probably multiple coaches, actually. And it's not because they're not good at the sport. They understand the sport, they understand the rules, they understand the tactics. They know how to be great at that sport, and yet they've still got a coach to take them to the next level. So we've got Frank Dick coming to talk to us at Growth Club, which is our 90-day planning workshop where we get the clients to put together their plans for what they're going to do in the next quarter. So Frank Dick, if those of you are not familiar with him, was Director of Performance for UK Athletic in the days of Seb Coe and Steve Ovett, and I think Daley Thompson as well. He's worked with Alex Ferguson at Manchester United, and he's currently working with Eddie Jones and the England rugby team as well. And what's interesting about him as well is it's not just he is a great sports coach, but actually he's worked in different categories as well, different types of sport. And yet what he does is applicable to each of those sports. And to be fair, it's exactly the same with what we do with business coaching. It doesn't really matter the type of business we're working with. What we do is applicable to everybody. But what it also talks or shows is the overlap between the skills that a great sports coach is going to have and what we do as business coaches as well. And also consider the fact that actually all of those very high performing teams have still got a coach.
Yeah, fantastic. And it is important. We know it's important. And yeah, there's business owners out there that will steer clear of a coach, won't they? Because they don't want that accountability partner. And how would you, how do you actually overcome that? Because I'd imagine there's barriers that the entrepreneur or the business owner puts up straight away. No, no, yeah. Well, you're not coming near me.
It varies depending on how established their business is. So a lot of business owners don't, I think it's an English thing in many ways as well, actually. We like to present the front that we know what we're doing and don't want to ask for help. Whereas actually a lot of business owners would benefit from asking for some assistance to help them drive them forward. Some people, it's based on cost, and let's face it. Well, I always talk about the accountant. When you hire a new accountant, you expect them to cover their costs in what they save you in tax for the next couple of years. With a business coach, when you hire a coach, you're looking to cover the cost of that coaching in what you achieve in increased profit over a period of time as well. So the increased profit should more than cover the cost of the coaching and help drive your business forward rapidly at the same time as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And what a great way to look at it. I mean, obviously, none of us like, well, I shouldn't say none of us like to pay tax. We have to pay tax. But, obviously it's, a great way of putting it there that the cost of a business coach could be, offset against the cost of, or the increased profit, as you say. So I think that's a great analogy there.
Yeah, multiple times as well. And also you've got to think, because I'm part of, although we're local coaches, we're part of a global organization. I mean, COVID's obviously the recent example, but when COVID hit, by the time it got to the UK, we could already build on the experience that was happening out in the East as well. So actually, they went through it, the coaches over there went through COVID a lot earlier than we did. So actually, by the time it got to the UK, we've got all that experience to draw on, plus the global community was coming together by that stage. So it wasn't a case of actually there's one person thinking about this. There were thousands of people around the world just in the action coach community. And then you extend that out to their clients as well. There's an awful lot of knowledge being funneled up into one organization that we can then apply to our clients. So we start to act as a bit of a conduit of best practice at that point as well. And I mean, as you went into COVID, my proud boast that none of our clients went under during COVID. More importantly, most of them grew during that period as well. So actually, we've got quite a few success stories that have happened in the last 2 years, while a lot of business was really struggling to stay afloat as well.
Yeah, fantastic. And you mentioned the global side of Action Coach. So obviously, as we can see from the screen, you've got Oakham and Kettering, because obviously you're kind of geographically bound with an Action Coach. But what sort of area can you help business owners looking to start a business?
Well, realistically, we will work with anybody, and I also say coaching is very personality based as well. You've got to get on with your coach. The three things we look for when we're talking to potential clients. So first of all, do we have faith in their business to actually achieve what they're looking to achieve? Secondly, will they achieve those goals quicker if we're involved? And thirdly, do we get on with the client? Because it's going to be a miserable experience if we don't get on with each other. So there's got to be that synergy there as well. But yeah, so from a geographic point of view, if we, depending on the circumstances, if we stray into another coach's area, I'll have a conversation with that coach. If it's appropriate, I'll just introduce them to the other coach. It's actually doing, well, fundamentally, it's about doing what is right for the client, not just about what is right for us as coaches as well.
So really, if people are looking for coaching, you can help talk to them, no matter where they are geographically, but then work it within Action Coach. Obviously, it's all about the individual, really, isn't it? That actually is open to coaching, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. It's the right thing for the client. And we'll work. I mean, we regularly talk with people who we have no expectation that they will become clients. But actually, part of what we do is give back to the community. It's not just about having or just about the money. It's about us actually contributing to the growth of the local community as well. Nothing would make me happier that what we are doing with Action Coach contributed to a sudden surge in business growth within our territory, or even within the Midlands.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, talk about your own journey. Let's talk about your own journey as a business owner. I mean, what were you doing before you came into what you do today?
So my career has been in IT management. And I suppose really we got to a point in life where I'd always quite wanted to have my own business, but at the same time we got kids, so we had to get them through school and university. So many people are going to resonate with this. At the point they left home and became independent, that was the time, if I was ever going to do it, when we needed to look at starting our own business. As I mentioned earlier, I was also very aware that I was going to need support to drive a business forward. And we looked at a number of franchises before we settled on Action Coach. But actually, Action Coach resonates because to be a good manager, you naturally have to coach. So I had been coaching for years. And secondly, I've been involved in one of the livery companies in the City of London. And we've been coaching the CEOs of charities as part of that, which was sort of my first toe in the water of pure coaching. So I got some experience and liked it and got results. So it was almost a natural evolution to start up a coaching business when we decided to do Action Coach.
Yeah, brilliant. And how would you describe that first moment when you got that first client? Because when it's kind of your own business, whether you're working within a franchise or your own limited company or sole trader, the buzz of getting that first client, what was it like for you?
Yeah, it's a long time ago actually. It's a good feeling because actually you realize there's something in it. More importantly, actually, that first client is still with me. So we're obviously, and we've made a big difference to his business. I know we've made a big difference to his business. So it is a lovely feeling. There is a bit of an element, okay, just got to do it again. But I think it's building it's goals along the way, isn't it? So one of the things, and actually historically, I have to put my hands up. I've been very bad at this in the past, actually celebrating those little successes as well. So you get your first client, how are you going to celebrate that? That's at least go out for dinner, isn't it? And then, when you hit your financial goals, actually that's a bigger celebration. So that's maybe you go away for the weekend or something. So it's having those celebrations to reflect the success that you've had in the business. Sometimes it's going to be as simple as actually, we're going to have a little celebration because we hit our target for the month, or we're going to have a celebration because I had a good phone call. That might be just as simple as going to get a coffee and a chocolate biscuit or something. Whereas actually, maybe you're hitting your target, you go for drinks after work, and then you hit the bigger goals. It's actually think about what works and what's proportional, but recognize where you have had success in the business as well.
And I'm glad you touched on that, because one thing I've lived off over the years is the word success. So I love success. Now, success to me doesn't look like the Maserati, the yacht, the mansion. It's about making those small differences, but also
Yeah.
knowing that you've set your head to something, you've achieved it, and you've actually gone and delivered it, and you get the great feeling from it. So success to me is something so small sometimes. You say about that great phone conversation, or that new client or something coming on board. So I look at success as something you can celebrate every single second. That's what success is to me. As you
Enjoy
break
the
it
moment.
down, you can use it
Yeah.
as much as you like if you want. I don't care. Just make sure I get credited for it. But it's just like something you can celebrate every single second. It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be that that £1 million order. It could just be the customer picking up the phone and saying, "Do you know what? Thank you." That to me is something you can celebrate, and we don't do it enough. We should recognise, we don't want to be seen as too arrogant that we've kind of hit a goal or hit a target, but we do want to realise that we've worked hard as business owners and entrepreneurs, and people that are driven by making a difference. And
Yeah.
to me, I absolutely love it.
Yeah. And actually, you just touched on a really good point there as well. So many of us, we focus on things becoming better in the future when we have got the big house, when we have got the car, when we've got the yacht, depending on how far you want to take this. But actually, when you get to that point, there's always going to be something else. And let's face it, in life, there's always going to be somebody doing better than you. So you've got to be very careful. You've got to recognize what you've achieved at every point along the way and enjoy those moments as well. Enjoy the moment you're in. And actually, so the other thing that what you can't see to my right is I have a vision board. So basically, these are the things that I'm aspiring to achieve. And if you look back when we first started with Action Coach, it was actually the bigger house, the nice car. But actually, pretty quickly, I realized that's not what's driving me. It almost forced me to think about it. And if you look at it now, it's got a picture of my children and their partners on there. It's got obviously a picture of Angela. It's got our dogs on there. It's got a picture of a lion in a safari. Would love to go on safari. So that's much more about the experience and the being with people. Coaching is on there, but actually very much because I love what I do and I want to keep doing it. But it's getting that to be a successful thing and a part of the business and contributing to other people's success. It's spending time with friends, and also, as you're very aware, we got the motorhome recently as well. And actually, the picture that's on here is of us sitting outside the motorhome, enjoying a beautiful sunny afternoon. Which actually, it wasn't so much the motorhome that was important to me when I thought about it. It was the experience of being able to go away together in the motorhome that was important to me. But my point is, it's become much more about the experiences and with people and the things that we're doing, as opposed to the material benefits as well. And it's sort of an evolution as you start to think more and more about what you actually want out of life and why you're driving for success.
Yeah, and that's a great point to talk about there, because for me, I mean, again, you can't see what I'm surrounded with, but I've got certificates on the wall of where I've been presented with something, or I've got a model railway building here half built, reminding me I need to get on with it. But also I have also got the memories, and surrounded by the children for the reality side. I'm working hard for the children. I'm celebrating them being around the family, but also some of the achievements you actually achieved along the journey, which can be really small steps, but are obviously adding up to the bigger picture. And where we become the director of our own movies and things like this. I mean, it'd be amazing to get to that level, but at the end of the day, these are things that I look back on, and you can see your own sort of growth journey and your own journey in life as well. So I think it's critical to do that. It's critical to have something visual as well, I find. Even if it is just a reminder that you need to do something. So yeah, but Rupert, listen, it's been absolutely brilliant talking to you. Where can people find out how to contact you? I mean, the best thing is obviously your website, I'd imagine, but is there another way that people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, actually, that's true. The best way to contact us, if you just Google Action Coach Oakham, and we'll come up. It's probably the best way to make contact. Obviously, feel free to phone us or email us directly. So I'll let you put the phone number and the email address into the text that goes with this video as well, so people can easily reference that as well. But have a chat. I mean, even if you don't think coaching is for you, but you've got something that you'd like to talk over, we're quite happy to have that conversation with you as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And what about people that are thinking about starting a business that maybe looking to exit their career, sat behind the PC screen, just taking orders, are you happy to talk to them about what entrepreneurship and business looks like before they sort of become take that step into the big wide world?
Oh yeah, I mean, any advice we can give them to get them thinking about what they need to do. I mean, it's really as simple as actually, what are you going to sell first of all? What's your business all about? And then, of course, actually, what money do you need to do it? We hear so many stories about people setting up. They've got a beautiful office or beautiful shop front, and they forgot to allow any money for marketing the business. So yeah, it all looks lovely, but if nobody's coming in, it's a bit of a waste of money. So actually, think about where you're spending your money in the first place. And I would say, spend some time thinking about where you want to take your business before you start. So actually, what's your vision for the future? How are you going to get there? And also, it's really important when you've got your own business to think about the culture that you're going to have inside your business as well, because inevitably it's going to be a reflection of your values and your beliefs. So actually think very carefully about what sort of business that you want to put together as well. And then, of course, break it down into the targets. What do you need to achieve and by what time? So you know what you're aiming for. And above all else, of course, have a thought about all of that. Do your market research. See who's doing that locally to you or in your target area. I mean, if you're targeting the entire country, you need to do your market research across the whole UK. But if you're just targeting Kettering, you need to think about what other businesses, similar businesses there are in the Kettering area, and how they're going to overlap with you, and maybe what synergy there are between you as well. Not everybody is your competition. We regularly go and talk to other coaches, because we know through experience there's very few coaches out there do what we do, but there's a lot of coaches that have services that are complementary to what we do as well. So get to know what's happening in your local community.
So Rupert, looking at your website, you've got some great business tools on there and a learning centre for people that are looking to start a business or want to understand more about what business looks like and how you can help them. Do you want to talk through what's sort of involved in there for us?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, actually, the learning centre is really important because it's providing what we've tried to do is to get bite-sized bits of useful business information and share those in the learning centre, so people can just drop in for a couple of minutes at a time, maybe between meetings or while they're having a cup of coffee, and pick up some valuable learnings and insights. And sometimes it's actually just trying to present a different point of view as well. So we try to get people thinking a little bit out of their normal view of the world. And we've also got some business tools up there. So we've got there's a white paper up there about starting your own business. We've got tools up there that talk about the type of personality you've got. We've got tools that talk about marketing as well. So we've tried to put some useful business tools up there that people can just download and use in their day-to-day business. We've got actually, under business tools, we put up a couple of weeks ago, great little tool that basically allows you to go through and mark yourself against getting on for 100 different areas inside your business. So you can look to see, and you need to be honest when you do this with yourself, but look to see how you mark yourself, so you can see which areas you're strong in and which areas you're weak in. And then once you've identified the areas that you're weak in, of course, those are the areas that you need to focus on to improve your business. So the idea is that you need to have the highest possible score across everything on that sheet. You have to be selective in where you start and prioritize, but it gives you a good idea of how your business is performing, the things that you need to think about as well. And then also on the website, the things you would expect to have. So it talks about myself, Angela, and the rest of the team. We've got the events that we run, that we're involved in, that people might want to join us for, and also the programs that we run as well, so people can get an understanding of the different types of coaching that are available. So we've got everything up there from group coaching for the businesses that are looking to establish themselves and learn about running a business, right up to one-to-one coaching and executive coaching for the bigger businesses, where we're either working with the business owner on a weekly or fortnightly basis, or sometimes we're working with not only the business owner but also his senior management team as well, and helping him drive the business. So it gives you an idea of the types of coaching that are up there. And they are also all important. We've also got up some stuff from some of our clients just talking about their experience of coaching. And we've got a couple of client success stories up there as well, so people can start to understand the journey that we take clients on as they get involved in coaching as well. So yeah, we've tried to make it as informative as possible, and hopefully get people thinking a little bit about what they need to do in their business as well.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you once again for getting involved in today, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
No, thank you very much. And it's great to be part of this initiative as well. I think it's great what you're doing with the NMBN as well, Simon.